So here we are in part 13 in Darkfall Cave, where we're searching for Auriel's bow. Should be good. Most of the new dungeons and caves and stuff have been really good.
I knew I heard something. Keep your eyes open.
Looks like that's the only way down. Onwards. Oh, hello. Really loving this Lord and Atronach stone combo. It's ridiculously powerful. I take barely any magic damage. Especially given that I've got elemental protection for my shield as well. Something to keep in mind for this, as well as when you're using the Apprentice Stone. That's what I was using it on one of the pure mage characters I was running just before I got the Dawnguard. Pretty much any damage that isn't physical damage counts as magic damage, like poison, like the dart traps in like ruins and stuff like that. Like when you light up the oil in a dungeon, that counts as magic as well. And the great thing about that is that they can all be absorbed if you've got the Atronach Stone or perk. And that also means that if you get hit by a chorus poison on a pure mage with about 150 health and no magic resistance, well, negative 100 magic resistance, you generally die. Troll in the dungeon. Great shot there.
Something's not right here. Be careful. I think we may be in for some trouble.
Some of this stuff's not bad. Alright, let's keep going. What's this?
Come forward. You have nothing to fear here.
You're looking a bit pale.
I am Knight Paladin Gelabor. Welcome to the great chantry of Auriel. Auriel, Alkosh, Akatosh, so many different names for the sovereign of the Snow Elves. I prefer Snow Elf. The name Falmer usually holds a negative meaning to most travelers. Those twisted creatures you call Falmer, I call the Betrayed.
Fancy seeing one of you around Skyrim.
You're here for Auriel's bow. Why else would you be here? I can help you get it, but first, I must have your assistance. For the thousands of years I've served as the Chantry's Sentinel, there hasn't been a single visitor here for any other reason. They request Auriel's bow, and I request their assistance. It's been repeated so many times, I can't imagine it any other way. I need you to kill Archcurate Vertha, my brother. The kinship between us is gone. I don't understand what he's become. It was the Betrayed. They did something to him. I just don't know why Auriel would allow this to happen. They swept into the Chantry without warning, and began killing everyone without pause. The Chantry was a place of peaceful worship. I led a small group of paladins, but we were no match for the Betrayed's sheer numbers. They slaughtered everyone, and stormed the inner sanctum, where I believe they corrupted Vertha. He's alive, but something's wrong. He never looks as though he's in pain or under duress. He just stands there and watches, as though waiting. Leaving the way shrines unguarded would be violating my sacred duty as a Knight Paladin of Auriel, and an assault on the Betrayed guarding the inner sanctum would only end with my death. Yes, let me show you. This structure is known as a way shrine. They were used for meditation and for transport when the Chantry was a place of enlightenment. Prelates of these shrines were charged with teaching the mantras of Auriel to our initiates.
What's that basin in the center signify?
Once the initiate completed his mantras, he'd dip a ceremonial ewer in the basin of the way shrine's center and proceed to the next way shrine.
So these initiates had to lug around a heavy pitcher of water. Marvelous. How long would they have to do that?
Well, once the initiate's enlightenment was complete, he'd bring the ewer to the Chantry's inner sanctum. Pouring the contents of the ewer into the sacred basin of the sanctum would allow him to enter for an audience with the Archcurate himself.
All that just to end up dumping it out? It makes no sense to me.
It's symbolic. I don't expect you to understand.
So, let's get this straight. We need to do all that nonsense to get into the temple so we can kill your brother and claim Auriel's bow.
I know how it all sounds. But if there was another way, I'd have done it long ago. The only way to get to my brother is by following in the initiate's footsteps and traveling from way shrine to way shrine, just as they did. The first lay at the end of Darkfall Passage, a cavern that represents the absence of enlightenment. There are 5 in total, spread far apart across the Chantry. Caves? Oh no. The Chantry encompasses far more than a few caves, as you'll soon discover. But before I send you on your way, you'll need the initiate's ewer. Once you've located a way shrine, there'll be a spectral prelate tending to it. They will allow you to draw the waters from the shrine's basin, as if you've been enlightened. This may be the last time we're able to... Otherwise, all I can do now is grant you my hopes for a safe journey. Questions? I expected as much. We were once a wealthy and prosperous society that occupied a portion of Skyrim. Unfortunately, we were constantly at war with the Nords, who claimed the land as their ancestral home. In a manner of speaking, we had always maintained an uneasy alliance with the underground-dwelling dwarves, and when faced with extinction, we turned to them for help. Surprisingly, they agreed to protect us, but demanded a terrible price: the blinding of our race. There were splinter groups that resisted the agreement, and even some that sought alternate alliances. But when it was all said and done, those elves were either slaughtered, vanished, or gave up and took the dwarves' bargain. I've often asked myself that very same question. The blinding of my race was supposedly accomplished with a toxin, certainly not enough to devolve them into the sad and twisted beings they've become. The Chantry is quite isolated, so it took some time for word of the dwarves' offer to reach us here. By the time the compact had been completed, it was too late for us to even attempt to intervene. Correct. We only numbered perhaps 100 at the time, so our presence remained a secret to the dwarves and the Nords. Ironically, our undoing came at the hands of our own people. Yes, they swarmed the Chantry in vast numbers until we were completely overrun. We never really stood a chance. I assume that the Archcurate was corrupted by them when they found a way to breach the inner sanctum. Verther and myself are the only two snow elves that remain. May Auriel light your path.
That wasn't as unpleasant as I thought it would be. Kind of soothing, actually. I feel a little warmer now.
Alright, let's move on. Okay then. Reminds me a bit of Shivering Isles again. And what's that? Oh my god, it's a Cazador. Kill it with fire.
Where'd you come from? That'll teach you. Where'd you come from? Where'd you come from? I knew I heard something. Done and done. Where'd you come from?
Ha! Take that, flying chorus thing.
Who's there? Done and done. Who's there? I knew I had something. Where'd you come from? Who's there? Done and done. there. That'll teach you. Where'd you come from? Done and done. Yes? If you think it'll help. Be careful here. Whatever's on the other side of this, I only wanted to keep it there.
This should be good. Is that like some magical Panther of Doom?
Where'd you
Or
come
just a
from?
funny looking saber cat? Yeah, I can control that.
That'll teach you.
With funny coloured spots.
By the blood. Where'd you come from? That's another way shrine up there. Here we go.
Alright, so we've arrived at the first shrine,
This
so
is the way shrine of illumination.
see what happens here.
And behold Auriel's gift, my
Given that
child.
I don't really see a
May it
way to
light your
progress,
path as you seek tranquility
given that
within
this is the end of the
inner
cave. Unless there's like some gigantic underwater passage, which I doubt. Portal works too. Right, well thanks for watching and tune in for the next episode in the Forgotten Vale.